Today we got to talk about Bitcoin, of course, and how the entire market is still digesting what Gary and the SEC has done. But I do have a chart, a very good one, that we do need to hide from Gary because he's not going to be very happy if he sees it. What else is fantastic? Well, from a TA perspective, that looks like a cup and handle. And normally that's a very bullish pattern, right? It does look like a cup and handle. So short term, are we going to see an explosive breakout in July or possibly June and July going up to the 40s and 50Ks? Again, a lot of people have predicted this, that this is right around the corner. This is why you don't want to be scared out. But even if it doesn't happen or it does happen long term, this is what we have to expect. The halving event coming up, and then a parabolic rise afterwards for about 500 days. That's pretty good. That sounds pretty good. I've lived through a couple of these parabolic rises, and there's euphoria every single day. You wake up and you're up 20%, like day after day after day after day. It seems like it's never ending, right? You get hooked, and it's coming. Here's another one. This is some kind of channel, the Keltner channel. Again, it looks very similar to Bollinger Bands, but anyways, whenever you squeeze when you squeeze it and you're on either the upper or lower range in a channel, something tends to happen. But right now, we are utilizing that middle point as like a support level, which we have seen many times in the past, and it usually means that afterwards, right? You got some good movement, right? Like a parabolic movement. So we're seeing that right now. So again, better days are coming. We are in Bitcoin. This is the reason why Bitcoin is so strong these days, right? Despite Gary's best efforts to scare the bejesus out of people, at least in the US. Okay, we know still. Everyone's still talking about it. What's going to happen with Binance? What's going to happen with Coinbase? What's going to happen with Ripple? Okay, there's so many lawsuits left and right. What is going to happen in the U.S.? Is Gary just trying to shut all innovation down? I mean, even Mark Cuban slams the SEC crackdown, right? Basically, there's no clarity. It's a blanket attack with no clarity at all. Companies that really legitimately want to comply and want to grow within the U.S. cannot do so. Even Robinhood yesterday came out and said, we tried to register. We tried for 16 months and we got nothing back from the SEC. So it's not like companies are not trying. Every company in the U.S. is trying to get some kind of approval or clarity. But the top dog there, Gary, does not want to give any. There's something wrong with this picture. There's something very wrong with this picture. How can you have an agency that's supposed to be managing securities without giving any guidance or official rules or laws about that? It's not fair. And people are starting to realize that. And a lot of Congress people also starting to realize that. I don't think anyone's really a fan of Gary, even though some people say they are. I don't really think so. So, I mean, this is a situation we're in right now. So we'll have to see if something's going to be done. Or maybe he is on his way out and he knows that already. That's why he's causing the mess he is right now. But, Bitcoiners, we're not going to be scared off by Gary. Robert Kiyosaki, why I love Bitcoin. Years ago, I watched Bitcoin climb to 20,000, then drop to zero. Well, not zero, but pretty close. I thought Bitcoin's finished. Slowly watched Bitcoin climb to 6K. I bought lots. Why? Because people support Bitcoin, not the Fed and not the government. Right? Bitcoin did not need Fed or government bailout because Bitcoin is people's money. Bitcoin to 100K. Long live Bitcoin. Robert gets it. Right? Unlike the fiat, unlike any fiat out there, no one controls Bitcoin. It just continues to do its thing. It doesn't need to be bailed out. It doesn't need to be inflated. There's no monetary policy to be done on it. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's the hardest assets that we have, and will continue to be the hardest asset we have going forward, which is why so many people are turning to it, right? So, fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Expect worse things to come. No, I'm just kidding. Doesn't necessarily mean worse days are coming, but the Eurozone, just like the US, just like everywhere else, UK, Australia, I believe, and everywhere else around the world, feeling the effects of recession and feeling effects of high rates and everything else that we've experienced over the last, however many months, right? The problem with this is that inflation is still high. Even though inflation has come down slightly from our peaks, but it's still very high. So for some countries around the world, their central bank is still raising rates. Now in the US, we'll have another FOMC meeting next week. Predictions are that there will be no rate hike for this time around, but there will be more afterwards, right? So we may get a pause, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be paused forever and the Fed starts pivoting, right? So that's the problem, because we're seeing signs of slowdown, softening, right? We're definitely in recession, but we still have elevated inflation. So what can these central bankers do, right? Can they keep just raising rates forever? Well, then that's go plunge everyone into depression. So we still have that problem right now. We still have that problem. And look at this. Turkish lira has plunged and continues on plunging. There's a lot of countries out there that are suffering not only from inflation, but hyperinflation, super hyperinflation, and they don't know what to do, right? So this is the reason why, again,